In America, while a rising number of women are dying because doctors refuse to treat their miscarriages or are arrested for having them, where millions of women may lose hard-won voting rights while others are eradicated from public life and historical record because of their gender, 6 rich women did what rich people do best in perilous times: blissfully abscond to the safety of their own private estates or islands or yachts, or in this case, spaceship, and flaunt their wealth to the masses. Well, that could be the whole video, so thanks to Marci Bianco for putting it so succinctly. Or, here's the tweet. Hello, I'm Angela. I love to talk about science, but I also apparently just complain about billionaires going to space. Like, that's like my side hustle. I don't want to, but I also feel like it's important to talk about. I don't know. Anyway, Marci Bianco posted this on Instagram. She just got fired. So, that sucks. I'll put a link to her book in the comments below. Yikes. I feel like the mic has been working. I've been getting yelled at a little bit less. So that's exciting. Yeah. Um so on Monday, August. So on Monday, April 14th, 2025, Blue Origin's 11th flight went to space. It was successful and it had women on it. Let me read you their names. On the flight were Aisha Bowe, an entrepreneur, Amanda Wynn, civil rights activist, Gayle King, Oprah's friend, Katy Perry, Woman's World singer, and Carrie Ann Flynn, a documentarian. Also, Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. And, they went to space. I feel like everyone knows that this sucks. No one is fooled by this publicity stunt. Like, we get it. I feel the need to document this. I feel the need to document the fact that we all know that this is bullshit. And the reason I feel like it's so important to say is because simultaneously, while real women, especially women of color, are being eradicated from history and from science, like the actual achievements they had are being erased as if it's a DEI achievement, I feel like it's important for me to come out and say, like, hi, I am a 2025 person and we know that this is bullshit. So, I will document it. And in order to make it more palatable for future people to consume, a numbered list. Number 10, associating with Jeff Bezos. Yikes. So I learned about this company in September when I received an email from the affiliate marketing person at Aisha Bowe's company called Lingo. They get points here already because they said, "Hi, Angela," which means they watched my channel enough to learn my name. Often they're just like, "Hi, YouTuber." So great start. I am writing to you from Lingo, a company founded by the former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe to support learners on their science, technology, engineering, and math STEM journey. Perfect for summer, our kits offer fun and educational activities for kids aged 13 and up. They provide a great way to make the most of their break while learning. Our mission is to reach parents who want to nurture their children's education and students underexposed to STEM opportunities, inspiring the leaders of tomorrow, and that's why we would love to invite you to join our affiliate program. And here's how it works. Earn 10% commission on every sale within the 30-day tracking time. Get an exclusive 10% discount, collaboration opportunities with Aisha Bowe, access to marketing materials, and we offer to help and support from the Lingo Partnership team. So here's the thing. This isn't entirely out of my wheelhouse, right? Like, I'm a huge proponent of STEM education. I would even say I'm passionate about early childhood education. That's what I was pursuing my master's in before I went to grad school, or physics grad school. And I have gone on record, at least on Patreon, about how I think a lot of science toys are bad. Some of them are scams, and some of them are goods. And I even have a KiwiCo crate staring at me. It's right there. I got it at the thrift store like a year ago. I was gonna review it. STEM toy kit box. Sure, I could do that. However, I get offended by these opportunities to collab because it's just like, so I film an ad and you give me 10% of the sales within 30 days. That's it. Like, you actually have to pay me for my time. I'm not just going to film an ad for free. And I also think it's very rude. Like, oh, if I sell some kits, I will get some compensation for my time. I don't like that. Um, I also think it's weird that they didn't offer to send me a kit. How can I suggest a product if you don't send me a kit? But maybe that would have come if I had responded. But they sent me directly to the join link, which makes me think that this opportunity was pretty widespread, which I don't think that's a good way to do business, especially when the business is marketed towards children. I didn't like that. Of course, they have every right to extend this opportunity. Like, if this is how they want to do business, that's totally fine. I just will not participate in that. And this is generally the reasons I don't do like sponsorships on my channel. But anyway, I did think, oh, I'll go to this website and I will buy a kit because surely I'm going to review this kiwi goat great that's been staring at me for one full calendar year. Surely I'm going to do that at some point. That's going to come out. I'm going to do that. If I was giving advice to this company, the first thing I would suggest is to change the name, because if you Google Lingo, it doesn't come up. If you Google Lingo Kids, it doesn't come up. You gotta Google Lingo Aisha Bose. And that's too many steps to get to a product, I think. You gotta come up with a different name. Anyway, I'm on the webpage, and these kits cost like $100, which is very expensive. And I mean, maybe they're good, but like they don't really talk a lot about what's inside the box. You see pages like this where it's like, we have introduction to hardware basics. Others don't have videos. We have videos. Others don't have videos. And it's just the importance of humanities, the importance of writing copy. I wasn't going to do this collab offer that I got in September, but I was like, maybe I'll buy a kit. And I go and I see that the website's very Aisha Bose focused, which is interesting because she is not a celebrity, right? I don't know who this is. And so I'm Googling around and I find out Aisha Bose is a former NASA rocket engineer and she's going to go to space on Jeff Bezos's Origins rocket. And that's a no for me. I will not support a company that supports Jeff Bezos. I'm not a saint. Like, I shop at Whole Foods. I mean, I've been converting, like, I have been boycotting Target, and it's been really easy. Who knew it would be so easy? I go to Costco already, and I've been trying to not go to Whole Foods, but, like, also sometimes I buy stuff on Amazon. I know, I hate it. I hate it about myself, but, like, sometimes I just can't find the thing anywhere else. If I was a good person, maybe I would just go without the thing. And maybe I should try to do that. I try my best. I'm not a perfect person. But going on a space tourism trip with Jeff Bezos, a man so uniquely responsible for destroying the planet, it's like owning a Cybertruck. Like, I don't understand how people could be morally okay with that. And I would not participate in a business that also does that. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not a morally perfect person, but I just think there are limits to what's acceptable. I would not associate my personal brand. I've been reading too much Naomi Klein. I can't turn it off. I would not contribute my personal brand, my expertise, like my future career to participate in a publicity stunt for a billionaire. Nope, not gonna happen. Like, of course you get exposure for this, then your name is out there, but like, at what cost? You're never gonna escape Jeff Bezos, an evil billionaire. Literally blood on his hands. And I just don't think the exposure is worth it. And, like, obviously people are allowed to make their own decisions. She's allowed to do whatever they want. I'm just not going to be involved. Choosing to do this is complicit, and I'm not going to work with a company who would do this. The thing about the publicity stunt, I'm really struggling to say the word publicity. Publicity. The thing about it being a publicity stunt is that everybody knows that it's that. Like, no one watched this and was like, oh, they're going to space, how courageous. Like, they're just like, oh, great, billionaire space tourism is a thing we have to be annoyed about now. Do you know what I mean? Like, we get it. You have $1 billion. Apparently, if you have billions of dollars, going to space is just a very achievable goal. It's a thing you can buy if you have enough money. Okay, congratulations. Like, it means nothing. It's meaningless. I do find it interesting that Aisha's like subtitle is always former NASA engineer, and I do wonder, are we allowed to do that? Like, do we just get unending, forever clout for the places we used to work at? It's odd. But also, when I looked at this website in September, months ago, she was wearing a flight suit. And this for me leans towards scam because she was an engineer. She was not a rocket mechanic. She was not an astronaut. She was an engineer. But she's cosplaying as an astronaut in order to sell subscription boxes to children. Is she gonna start calling herself an astronaut? Because it kind of seems like she's trying to trick children into thinking she's an astronaut. Number 9. Oh, they are actually calling themselves astronauts. I feel like I have deja vu, but Jeff Bezos simply going to space does not make you an astronaut. I've flown in an airplane, not actually an airline pilot. It's just got the energy of giving some Sherpa $300,000 to carry you up Mount Everest and then saying, I climbed Mount Everest. Like, no, you didn't. You paid someone to carry you up Mount Everest. Or like you go to Nambia on like a safari and you pay some dude $90,000 and he goes out and tracks a lion, sedates it, puts a tracker in it. He wakes you up from your luxury tent and puts you in the Jeep, drives you to the location that this like blasted lion is unable to move, just lying on the ground. He loads your gun and then you shoot the lion and you take a picture and you're like, wow, look at me, expert tracker. I fight wild beasts. And it's like, well, you didn't really. You didn't do anything. You just spent a bunch of money. Like, no one believes that you did anything. You know that, right? No one's falling for these things. Language is important, and words have meanings. Do we, in 2025, think that the rich ladies who gave the evil robber baron billionaire a couple $1,000,000 to go to space count as astronauts? No. No, we don't. Number 8. Exploitation of women in STEM.
Pop singer Katy Perry is officially an astronaut.
Katy!
The obviously false, but also just like incredibly cynical description of this event as astronauts, women in STEM, going to space is a mess, especially when NASA is being stripped of funding and also erasing their websites documenting all of the, again, especially women of color who did actual real science, who actually had achievements, who actually did things. While that's being erased, we have these rich women parading around in flight suits as if they're scientists. It's disgusting. And also, billing it as the first all-female flight crew is a lie. I have made a video about the history of women in space. The first all-female space crew was Valentina Tereshkova. She flew herself to space in 1963, and the key word there is, oh my god, she actually flew the fucking rocket. She actually knew what she was doing. She actually trained for that. She actually did a thing. So labeling this as like women in STEM really, it makes us a joke. It's making a mockery of all the women who have actually trained to go to space, of all the women who have done research and done science and dedicated their lives to learning only to this. Perry told Elle magazine for her pre-launch cover story that she hoped the trip would inspire a whole new generation and make space and science glam. Words have meanings. First of all, glam. Do you know what glam is? Do you think you're glam? Second of all, the reason there's a disparity between the number of men and women in STEM is not because girls don't think science is glam. It's because of the sexual harassment. It's because of societal pressures that prevent women from excelling. It's because we live in a society that thinks it's okay to take all the pages of the women who have worked at NASA over the decades and erase them at the same time that you go to space and claim that, look, girls, space can be glam. Like, do you? And also, this literally has nothing to do with women in STEM. This is a space tourism trip. Like, if a bunch of women decided to go have cocktails and walk around the zoo, would you call that a women in STEM moment? Would you call those women zoologists? No, they're just going to an event. You know those insane cruises that people take to Alaska to see the glaciers before they melt. I can't believe we live in a simulation. Like, how is that a thing that people do? If a group of women did that for a bachelorette party, would you call that a women in STEM moment? No, they're on a vacation. Y'all did a space tourism. Don't pretend like you're a scientist. It's fucking disgusting. But also, no one would ever call this a STEM event, because of course it wasn't. Number 7, because it's obviously a publicity stunt. So, space tourism is a very stupid, wasteful, earth-melting venture. Sending a bunch of women to space for the first all-female flight crew, even though it's not, and even though they didn't fly it, obviously a publicity stunt to make space tourism seem palatable to, you know, us, the losers who don't have millions of dollars, the losers who have to live on the burning earth. Do you know what I mean? You and I will suffer the consequences of this horrendous activity. As the world burns, we will have to deal with that because we don't have a private jet. We don't have a yacht that we can go live on, right? This is not sending a telescope to space to learn about the universe. This is not sending satellites to Earth's orbit so we can use cell phones. This is sending millionaires to space so they can look at it and have some sort of feelings about how they should be kinder to people, and then come back to Earth so they can brag about how they're astronauts now, even though we all know they're not, right? This is literally cooking the planet so rich people can pretend to be astronauts. And Jeff Bezos, not a dum-dum, he knows this. He knows this is a bad look, but he also wants money. And so what if instead he makes it look like he's just sending women up? Like, oh my God, women in STEM. Does Jeff Bezos love women? Does he support women? Oh my God. No one's falling for it, Jeff Bezos. It's embarrassing. But I'd also like to thank Jeff Bezos because, man, did you make me hate women. Well, not all women, just these specific women. I think it's bad that these women volunteered to do this shitty publicity stunt for a man who, you know, has donated hundreds of $millions to a government, which is also stripping us of our rights. Like, I don't understand these women. I have been having so many strong feelings about this lady. Like, what are you doing? Like, you are such a garbage person. Like, you will never be one of the boys. They hate women and they hate you too. What do you think you have to gain by trying to chum up with the billionaires who are like, let's bring manliness back into the workplace? It's always gonna be a leopards eating your face situation. I pre-ordered Andrea Dworkin's Right Wing Women, and I still haven't read it. Maybe it has the answer. Maybe she can explain it to me. And that's just my opinion, right? These women are allowed to do whatever they want. You know, for now, even though all 6 of them failed to mention, like, while they're going to space and being super cool women in STEM astronauts, the government is intent on stripping the rights of women from them. But, like, go on. I guess that's not important because they were making space glam again. But even though you are allowed to do whatever you want, you know, for now, ladies, yay, you should have prepared your statements in advance. Surely you guys have known that you were doing this for a full year. Katy Perry says this: it's about making space for future women and taking up space and belonging. And it's about this wonderful world that we see right out there and appreciating it. This is for the benefit of Earth, said Katy Perry. She had months to come up with something. So, number 6, even though you are allowed to do whatever you want, you do not get to pick how people respond. My intention with this video is not to educate you, the people, on how there's environmental damage if we do space tourism. I think you know. This video is for future people. Our grandchildren will be living on a burning planet, never having tasted coffee, and they will look at us and say, Grandma, according to the history books, you guys just let space tourism happen. And well, baby girl, we didn't want it to happen. We all thought it was stupid and a bad idea. So we didn't like it. We all saw this for the scam it was, and we did not want it to happen. And we know that it's damaging the planet, and for some reason, we aren't able to stop it. What can we do? What should we do? I'm asking modern people. What should we do? Let me know. Anyway, here are some highlights from the news articles, such as end of time shit. One giant stunt for womankind. Wendy's tweets, can we send her back? So they don't own all the news agencies. Thank you for that. So I imagine these women thought that they were going to space and they would come down heroes. You know, the mission is named after Alan Shepard, a real astronaut. They're doing all the talking points, right? Like you hear these women talking about like the life-changing flight. Or the vice president of the Origins company called them trailblazers of space tourism. Like the first person to take a train is such a fucking trailblazer. Katy Perry said, I feel super connected to love. Let me read you the quote from Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Each of these women is a storyteller who will use their voices individually and together to channel their life-changing experience today into creating lasting impact that will inspire people across our planet for generations. Thank you to this remarkable crew for uplifting so many on their historic journey towards the stars and back. I hate it so much. Imagine saying that with a straight face. Their historic journey, they did nothing. They're tourists. And she's just like, this is going to uplift so many. This is a historic journey. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm marrying a man that stands to make hundreds of billions of dollars from space tourism. Women are storytellers. No one's falling for this. I hate it so much. It's embarrassing. And if we're going to talk about optics, I really hate the Blue Origins logo. It's like the blue font, and then it has like this black feather. And the feather is supposed to represent like you have the rocket, and then the capsule holding the people has all these parachutes, and it kind of just glides back down to Earth. So it's like a feather. And like I get it, but it just looks bad. It just looks really bad. Humanities are important. Hire an artist to design this. I'm so sorry if an artist designed this, but it looks really bad. Speaking of aesthetics, the rocket looks like a penis. And I know that rockets, because of aerodynamics, they're inherently phallic. I get that. But there's like the little mushroom cap. And I get that this is not a science mission, right? This is space tourism. This has nothing to do with science. It has nothing to do with space. It is a venture that is solely so billionaires can go to space and be like, I went to space. The reason this is shaped like this is to provide more room for the passengers and to make them more comfortable because... The reason it's shaped like this is to make them more comfortable because they're billionaires and like they can't be a little cramped. They can't wear a seatbelt. That's why it's mushroom shaped. I get it. But like, it also seems like a choice. And you put these women with their trying to be sexy flight suits with the cinched waist and the flared leg, and they're just flanking the penis rocket. It's a choice. For some reason, I look at this picture and it just gets biblical for me. I think about Matthew, what's the quote? It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to see the kingdom of God. And this penis rocket is just literally Jeff Bezos being like, fuck you, God. You can't stop me. And that's the thing, right? You can come out and you can say, like, this rocket is for aerodynamics, and combined with the fact that the billionaires are our customers and we are thinking about their comfort, this is the best design for a rocket. You're allowed to say that. I don't have to believe you. I think you wanted to make a penis rocket. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you can say whatever you want, but like, you can't make us believe it. Here's a quote from the website. It's this generation's job to build a road to space so that future generations can unleash their creativity. And it's a quote attributed to Jeff Bezos in front of the Earth as a globe. And like, wow, but this is garbage. It's stupid. Like, if you're trying to inspire future generations to be creative, wouldn't you like pay a living wage so their parents could like afford to buy them art supplies or something? Like, you're not trying to do anything for future generations because you took hundreds of millions of tax dollars in order to fund this project so you could carry rich people to space and make billions of dollars. Like, you think you would have turned around and put that money into like schools or something. Do you think little girls watch this and are like, oh man, I hope one day I grow up to get enough plastic surgery so that I can get married to the richest man in the world so that he can buy me a rocket and then also buy the newspaper so the newspaper will print an article that says I'm an astronaut? What a dream. If you care about the planet, You probably wouldn't destroy the earth, your garbage company where you don't even pay your workers. I don't know how Jeff Bezos shows his face. Do you remember those workers who were so afraid to leave the warehouse during a tornado that they literally died? How does this man walk in public? He has blood on his hands and his face. Again, this video is for the people of 2070 who think all of us here in 2025 are idiots. They're sitting there in the future, the earth is on fire, and they're like, those dum-dums in 2025 really did believe that the billionaires meant to save the world. And look at me, I'm telling you, we know that they don't. We know that they have billions of dollars because they're evil and they wanted billions of dollars, and it's a sickness. Like, they'll never have enough. We know that. We don't know how to stop them at this moment. We're trying. And that's the thing about history, right? This man has purchased the news outlets. He can create a legacy. He can create published text that says whatever he wants it to say about him. But I hope he knows that he doesn't actually get to decide what people think about him. And neither do these ladies. They really thought they were doing something, didn't they? They really thought this would be a good look. Number 5, cringe. I feel like we're not allowed to call things cringe anymore, but how else would you describe this? I can't watch this footage. And poor editing Angela has to clip it and put it in here for you. That sucks for her. Like, they're wearing flight suits. They're pretending to be scientists. They did a little sexy photo shoot and like, they look great. They all look great, but like, what are you doing? Why? It's embarrassing. What is this for? And it's like beauty and brains. And it's like, where are the brains though, ladies? Like, Aisha Bowe, former NASA employee, is a real engineer, right? Amanda Wynn, she's a civil rights activist, but she's got a science background. Gayle King, poor Gayle King, is a very accomplished woman, and I bet you can never find an article that does not also reference Oprah. Can you imagine your life just being Oprah's friend? Nobody's gonna think you're an astronaut, but now we do know you're comfortable working with a robber baron billionaire who's trying to destroy the planet. You literally are working with a man who has funded this government, who is intent on destroying the rights of women and erasing the history of women and people of color. Like, it's embarrassing. What was this for? Did you think people would think you went to space and were super cool? Like, you're never escaping this. No one will ever take you seriously again. Yikes.
I feel super connected to love.
Number 4, Gayle King responds. So again, I know if you're watching this in 2025, you also know it was an embarrassing publicity stunt. I know that. I just want to make sure the future people know that we also know that. There were memes, there were jokes, there were celebrities coming out and being like, this is embarrassing. But Gayle King responds to the memes with this. I think it's good that we can really address it, because I was one of those people before I went on this flight, before I became educated. Why are we spending so much money on space when there's so much to do on Earth? I was one of those people. Do you see how she's framing this? She's framing it as, these people making memes are so stupid. Don't they understand the importance of science research? But babe, you didn't do a science. You're a tourist. You performed in an advertisement for a company planning to sell $1 million trips to space, again, to not do science, and you're acting like you're Sally Ride or Amelia Earhart. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It's cringe. Number 3, I'm serious. Katy Perry sang a song. Oh my god. Just imagine sitting in a rocket, hurtling towards Earth. You might die. People have died on rockets before. And fucking Katy Perry is belt screaming, "What a wonderful world." Just imagine it.
Now you are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
What a wonderful world. Why was that important to sing that particular song?
I've covered that song in the past, and obviously, like, my higher self is always steering the ship, because I had no clue that one day I would decide to sing a little bit of that in space. But I think that it's not about me. It's not about singing my songs. It's not about me.
Now you are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much. It's not about me.
Number 2. The flight was 11 minutes. I don't know if this point is being hammered home as much as it should be. The flight was 11 minutes. They are pretending to be astronauts when they were in space for 11 minutes. Here are their key takeaways. Lauren Sanchez says the flight was a profound 11-minute experience and that she returned humbled after 11 minutes in space. She added that she now has an urge to protect this planet. Ooh, girly pop, you have a very unique opportunity to do something to protect this planet. Interesting. Okay. Katy Perry spoke about her daughter Daisy and the flowers she took to her space in her honor. She said the flight wasn't an 11-minute ride, it was an 11-minute journey, and that today they all felt like they belonged. Okay, Katy Perry. Gail King returned to Earth after 11 minutes in space, feeling like she could do anything. She said that the only surprise was how calming and peaceful her 11 minutes in space were. Carrie Ann Flynn also reflected on the sense of peace she felt in space for 11 minutes, comparing the experience to an 11-minute film, a short film. She added, "I was not only a witness to that film, but I was also a storyteller." Again, they had months to prepare what they were going to say, and this is what they've chosen. Amanda Wynn described her time in the capsule as such a phenomenal 11-minute dream. She also shared how she told herself before the mission to never give up. You can do anything for 11 minutes. Never give up. Aisha Bowe proudly waved a Bahamas flag in the capsule and spoke on becoming the first Bahamian woman in space for 11 minutes. She celebrated the moment with her 91-year-old grandfather who sat in the audience. That's nice. But the thing about being the first from your nationality or race or gender or whatever to do a thing is that it's not an inspiring act in itself. The inspiring part is the work that you did to get there in the face of adversity, right? Often these people have this societal pressure to like give up and leave or quit. You've seen the XKCD where it's like, oh, I'm bad at math versus girls feel like girls are bad at math. Like if they fail at anything, they're failing their whole group. I think about Mae Jemison. She went to Stanford and got a degree in chemical engineering and also African American studies. And then she went to, is it Columbia, to become a medical doctor. And she worked for the Peace Corps in Sierra Leone and Libya. Like, what a fucking champion. And then she was like, I'm gonna be an astronaut. And she trained for years and was an astronaut and did science in space. She's amazing. That's amazing. The inspiring part is all the work she did in the face of like women like her didn't usually do that stuff. And she paved a path, and like what an inspiring thing. Also, she said Lieutenant Uhura inspired her to be an astronaut, and she was on an episode of TNG, and that's awesome. But what if Mae Jemison was just like, they need 6 women. I guess I could do a space tourist thing. I guess I could go to space for 11 minutes, whatever. Fine. Like, that's not inspiring, right? Like, you just were a tourist. It's like going on a cruise to every continent and pretending to be like some huge explorer and like navigator and like, oh, I've done all this cool stuff, when in reality you were driven to a location while you sat in your luxury compartment and looked out the window for 11 minutes. Number 1, read the room. Dear future people, most of the commentary from normal people and not news outlets that have been purchased by billionaires is about rich people just doing rich people stuff and expecting praise. It's similar to the Kardashian birthday party during the pandemic, like that type of situation.
Kim, there's people that are dying.
It's a real let them eat cake kind of thing, which is interesting because the French Revolution is one of my favorite revolutions. And of course, I agree that this is disgusting. Like in our country right now, hundreds of thousands of workers have been laid off from their jobs. The government is intentionally stifling services from people that need them, like the Head Start program, the Social Security program, food stamps, cancer treatments. The president literally suggested that he wanted to send American citizens to a concentration camp in El Salvador. He literally said that. There's video of that. And these women did a space tourism and want us to clap. This is obviously going to be offensive to the future audience, right? Look at all these rich people doing this grotesque, wasteful thing while literally people starve, right? While literally the country is in shambles, the economy is shambles, and oh my God, the concentration camp thing. Immigration is good, actually. We get it. These people, garbage rich people, garbage clowns, no one will ever think that they're the heroes in the future, and it's fine. But it's important for me that you future people know we also know they're not the heroes, okay? We also get it, okay? We get that these actions are so on the nose. We get that history books will surely mark this as a let them eat cake situation. I know she didn't actually say that, by the way. Whatever. You know what I mean. You know what I mean? Also, I'm very, very offended by the manipulation of the women in STEM movement which of course has existed for hundreds of years because women have always been in science, just like women have always had jobs, just because women's are always around. We do the work of scientists. We spend years doing research and training and getting educated to work in a field for lower pay. And oh my God, the sexual harassment and criticism for being too angry or speaking too much or speaking too little. And every time we receive any accomplishment or publication or award, everyone assumes it's because you're a woman. So like, that's why you got it, right? And to take that movement, that discussion, and try to paint this situation as a resolution of that, while our government is literally scraping history of the women's accomplishments, especially the women of color who actually did science, who actually did something, who actually did things from the history books, and to put these fucking clowns up here pretending to be scientists. You spent 11 minutes in space and you're gonna fucking pretend that this is a women in STEM situation? I hate it. It sucks. And I just get this same feeling of disgust every time I see anything having to do with Blue Origin space tourism. It's not about the wonder of space or education or outreach. This is literally making money by providing an exclusive experience to the ultra wealthy. It's just gross. William Shatner did one of these when he was like 90 in 2021. And he came down and got off the rocket and he just seemed so genuinely moved and shocked and saddened by the experience. And there's this video of him trying to come up with words and trying to talk to Bezos about it. And Bezos just kind of shuts him up and pushes him away because that's not the vibe they're going for. They're not going for humanity. They're going for, I want to spray champagne all over the penis rocket. And in the clip, Bezos looks annoyed at William Shatner. Like he expected William Shatner to be an idiot.
You know what the impression I had that I never expected to have is you're shooting up.
Give me a champagne bottle. Come here. I want one. I want to hear this. Here. You want a little of this? Okay.
Which is shocking because do you think William Shatner has never thought about what it would be like to go to space? Like, that's literally all he talks about. Like, that's pretty much most of his career. Anyway, I think Shatner ruining this moment for Bezos really inspired the choices he would make for future missions. He expected James Kirk to go to space and come down and be like, whoa, this is amazing. And instead, an intelligent and thoughtful person realized how disgusting this whole venture is. And so now they get people like Katy Perry to go and be like, wow, this is beautiful for all of humanity. They don't want anybody on the ship who's going to point out how gross the whole thing is. Maybe just have Katy Perry sing a song, I guess. I'm going to end this video by reading a paragraph from Shatner who wrote about his experience in Variety. I'll link it below. I had thought that going into space would be the ultimate catharsis of the connection I had been looking for between all living things, that being up there would be the next beautiful step to understanding the harmony of the universe. In the film Contact, when Jodie Foster's character goes to space and looks out on the heavens, she lets out an astonished whisper. They should have sent a poet. I had a different experience because I discovered that the beauty isn't out there, it's down here with all of us. Leaving that behind made my connection to our tiny planet even more profound. It was among the strongest feelings of grief I have ever encountered. The contrast between the vicious coldness of space and the warm nurturing of Earth below filled me with overwhelming sadness. Every day, we are confronted with the knowledge of further destruction of Earth at our hands, the extinction of animal species, of flora and fauna, things that took 5 billion years to evolve, and suddenly we will never see them again because of the interference of mankind. It filled me with dread. My trip to space was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a funeral.